It's Oklahoma. It's Texas. It's the greatest rivalry in all of sports, and it's happening this Saturday. This is Locked On Crossover for OU Texas.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Locked On Crossover edition featuring Locked On Longhorns, Locked On Sooners as we get ready for the Red River Showdown. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. We got Brad Kellner of Locked On Longhorns. We got Jay Smith and myself of Locked On Sooners getting you ready for the game of games. Brad, how we doing, man? How are you feeling about the Texas Longhorns coming out of the Florida game, getting ready for Red River? What is just kind of the general feeling among Longhorn fans?
Yeah, we'd feel a lot better if Texas was 5-0 and Oklahoma was 3-2 going into this game. But unfortunately, the roles are reversed. Yeah, this fan base is a little splintered right now, John. Look, the week one loss at Ohio State, you can stomach that one. The defending champs, now they're the number one team in the country. You wanted to win that one, but not a ton of shame in losing in the horseshoe. But to go on the road against a Florida team that I think is a bottom five team in the SEC, a Florida team that I think wants their coach fired more than they want to win games, to lose that game and lose it in the manner that Texas did, it was pretty ugly. So, yeah, this fan base, not the most confident it's ever been going into a Red River shootout, that's for sure.
And yeah, Jay, definitely. What's the feeling among Sooner Nation, man? We're 5-0. What's the pulse right now?
Well, I mean, you're seeing multiple reports about how Oklahoma could be having a quarterback situation, and based upon this being a Thursday morning, we still don't know until anything's official. But all of the beautiful availability reports for the weekend are going to be fun to see out speculation. But Oklahoma's not satisfied. It's not good enough. 5-0 is fine, but it's not good enough. You've got to keep this going, and you've got to improve in all phases of the game. And so, for the Sooners, we're going up against a rival, man. So you got to get up. You got to get up. You got to lose your mind, and you got to go out there and play hard, because no matter what, this is usually when Texas is a bigger problem for Oklahoma, even when they're successful. Like when they're struggling, they become a thorn in the side, and Oklahoma has seen those moments, and we don't want to deal with that again.
Brad, we're coming into the season. Arch Manning's one of the favorites for the Heisman. Texas is the preseason number one. I don't want to dump on them too much, but what's been the biggest issue? This has been a team that has had good offenses over the years. They're just not consistent right now. Is that the nicest way to put it?
Well, you're welcome to dump on Texas all you want. I mean, it's Texas.
I'll try to play a little neutral here. Since we got Jay,
that's what makes this.
I don't want to dogpile Brad. This is our first crossover with Brad. We don't want to.
My favorite part of this game every year is the fact that there's going to be some 4-year-old Oklahoma fan who walks right up to me and just shoots the bird right in my face. And then a couple minutes later, her 18-year-old mom with like 3 missing teeth will come up and shoot me the bird right in the face. And then the grandma who's like 37 years old will do the same thing. That's what I love. I'm all about the trash talk. So you guys should be dunking on us the way that Texas has played so far. It's open season right now. But to answer the question, John, I mean, the whole offense has been a struggle. Even in Texas's games against San Jose State and UTEP in weeks 2 and 3, the offense left a lot to be desired. And you were kind of hoping, all right, like they're just cleaning some things up against these non-conference cupcakes, or maybe they're just sandbagging a little bit before they get to conference play. But then you saw what the offense did in the swamp this past weekend, and it's clear they've got some real issues. So there are issues everywhere, John, but I think number one, the biggest problem with Texas's team right now is the offensive line is terrible. And Texas lost 4 starters from a very good offensive line last year. And instead of going to the portal, Texas brought in a bunch of guys from the portal, but they brought in nobody from the offensive line. They tried to bank on the guys that they had in-house, And so far, Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood, who's the offensive line coach at Texas, they've lost that bet. They bet on themselves and they've lost that bet. So it's all been bad. It's all been discombobulated, but you guys know, like, if you can't win up front, you don't have a shot. And obviously it's a scary matchup on paper because Oklahoma may have the best defensive front in the country. And with the way the Texas offense has looked through 5 games this season, that has been the biggest problem, and it could be the biggest problem 2:30 on Saturday.
Jay, is that how you see it, man? Like, because Texas offensive line is struggling right now and Oklahoma's defensive line just seems to be trending in a elite direction, is that where this game is going to be decided?
Oh, it's going to be decided 100% in the trenches. And I don't like to say I told you so, but the Texas fans that laughed at me when I pointed out that you lost 4 dudes going to the league tried to say the bigger problem is that these dudes are still young. Yes, you saw a little Gooseby, you did. You saw a little Connor, you saw a little bit of them, but they still don't have the cohesion that you need in order to be as successful as you would like. And it's starting to show now. It's eroding. Plus, Brad, you made a good point. That UTEP game, that's when I was like, ooh, there's a real problem at Texas because, I mean, yeah, it was a battle of 5-star quarterbacks in Malachi Nelson going up against Arch Manning, but it did not look like Arch was the better quarterback. And that's why it made me have questions about Sarkisian and the system that he's putting together for him. Or is it just that he just doesn't have time and he's got that PTSD? We understand that. I mean, we had Jackson Arnold last year. He dealt with a lot of PTSD as well when it came to dealing with the offensive line and wide receivers hurt, etc. But health has not been very beneficial to Texas right now. And so to me, this defensive front, which has shown to be one of the best, if not the best fronts in the country. I mean, Cole Kublik over there at ESPN said it. He's like, yeah, I think this is the best one in the SEC. And it's showing it. It's actually proving it. David Stone, Jaden Jackson, Grayson Halton, as well as Dominic Williams, all 4 of those interior guys, to me, is where the problem is going to come for Texas. Because my biggest question for you, Brad, is what's happening in that running back room? What can we anticipate right now? Because it feels like they're falling like flies for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, you can anticipate bad is what you can't anticipate, Jay. I mean, the Texas running backs ran for 15 yards against Florida.
That's
11 carries. Crazy.
Never in my life.
Yeah.
Never in my life.
I mean,
it's that out of Texas.
Oh my God. I mean, it'd be bad if, a team like UTEP did that against Florida, right? Like 11 carries for 15 yards for the Texas running backs. The Longhorns as a team had 52 rushing yards, but most of that was Arch Manning. So what I can tell you about the Texas run game right now is Arch Manning is Texas's best rusher. He's the leading rusher, despite a pretty large number of sacks, and obviously those go against quarterback rushing yards for some reason. But he is Texas's best weapon on the ground. Kind of like for OU, like when John Mateer was out there, he was the best runner of the football. Arch Manning, who's not as good of a runner as John Mateer is, he's Texas's best option in the run game. So, Trey Wisner came back from a hamstring injury. He had missed the previous 3 weeks. He came back against Florida, scored a touchdown, but looked like he re-injured his hamstring late in that game. So we'll see if he's good to go. CJ Baxter's missed the last 3 weeks dealing with his own hamstring injury. So we'll see if he's able to play. And then the other 3 guys that Texas have been rotating just haven't been very good. And you couple that with, again, a horrible offensive line going up against an elite defensive line. The winner of this game, it feels like way more often than not, is the team that's able to run the ball better. Both of these teams have rushing issues right now, but for Texas, they've got a major offensive line issue. So, yeah, I don't know how it's a taller task than against Florida because I think OU's better than Florida, but the Longhorns somehow, some way, guys, are going to have to find a way to develop a run game over these next couple of days.
Arch Manning has 5 interceptions on the season, 2 fumbles. He's had some good moments. He battled and kept kind of Texas in that game against Florida, but it's been just an up and down roller coaster. His first run through as a starting quarterback, it's not always easy and straightforward for everybody. We're going to talk Oklahoma's offense versus what is a really good Texas defense coming up next here on Locked On Crossover with Locked On Longhorns and Locked On Sooners.
When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keeps you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service allows always has your blind side covered. Need a part fast for a project? Supply House has next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on the job where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets you use across the app. Like right now, this Oklahoma-Texas game is a good game to look at, and it's very easy to get in there. I can build my parlays. I can add player props and even follow the live lines literally during the game. So if you want to do that during Red River, you can obviously do that. And it makes watching football even more exciting. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today to get started.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On your first listen every single day, whether it's Locked On Longhorns, Locked On Sooners, or any of the great shows we've got across the Locked On network. We are your team every day. So, Brad, let's talk the Texas defense because it's a good unit. It's still a really good unit, a lot of really talented players. Yes, you went up against an Ohio State team that has a good offense, a Florida team that DJ Lagway rediscovered himself a little bit. He found out and realized, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at this thing. So what's up with Texas's defense? Where do you think that they're really being successful right now?
Well, to answer that, John, let me start off by saying it's Thursday, October 9th, 2025, and OU still sucks. All right, to your actual answer. That was the most surprising part of Texas's loss to Florida, right? Like, there was a scenario where I saw Texas losing that game. I didn't pick Texas to lose that game, so I'm not going to pat myself on the back too much. But if Texas was going to lose, I thought it would be 13-10, 17-14. Maybe Florida would have a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown. Like, the Texas defense had been playing at such a high level. And even in that week 1 game at Ohio State, they did more than enough for the Longhorns to win. They just got no help from the offense. The Texas defense just laid a total egg on Saturday against a Florida offense, which had been, bottom 2 or 3 in the SEC in pretty much every statistical category going into that game. So I still think this Texas defense is elite. I think they're one of the best in the country. I expect them to bounce back. But if it's anything like what we just saw in the swamp, then this Oklahoma offense may be able to move the ball and score consistently. But Texas has a ton of star power. I mean, preseason All-Americans at every level with Colin Simmons up front, Anthony Hood linebacker, Michael Taff at defensive back. None of them played like that last weekend, but it's a talented group. It's the same defensive coordinator who's been there for 5 years. More often than not, they know what they're supposed to do. They're good at tackling. There aren't a lot of coverage breakdowns. So we'll see. A big key in this game is whether or not Manny Muhammad can play. Manny Muhammad is Texas's number 1 cornerback, and he missed the Florida game. And you said it, John, like DJ Lagway was a coming out party for him. He looked incredible, and Texas just couldn't cover anybody, and they lost a lot of one-on-ones on the outside. So this isn't last year's Oklahoma. Like, you guys actually have real wide receivers playing football going into this game. So if Muhammad's out, can the other Texas guys play well enough in his stead to hold up for the Longhorns secondary? So long-winded answer. This Texas defense, I think, is very good. But again, they're coming off of their worst performance, I would argue, since 2022. So did Florida expose something and give Oklahoma a few things on tape to work on? Or can you just chalk it up as a really bad day for Texas?
Yeah, Jay, it seems like these two offenses are kind of in a little bit of a similar boat right now. The offensive line for Oklahoma has been up and down. Pretty good in pass pro for the most part, except for that Kent State game. Haven't really been able to run the ball consistently. What's your take on where Oklahoma's offense is right now heading into the Red River Showdown?
Biggest problem for Oklahoma is going to be that run game. Plus, at the same time, we don't know who's going to be throwing the ball. Like, I think Michael Hawkins can do enough to make sure the game stays competitive on the offensive side. He has his legs. He's got the ability to pass. Again, DJ Lagway had a coming out party, and with Muhammad potentially being from going from probable to questionable to game time decision last week. I'm curious to see how healthy he'll be. But I mean, as somebody you can kind of pick on, same thing with Kobe Black. I love Kobe Black. I thought he was a really good prospect. We were looking at him. You're dealing with two guys that are dealing with some dinged up situations. I think Oklahoma has a chance to try to take advantage of that. The wide receivers are healthy this year so far. Knock on wood. We've got guys that are able to go out. Plus, we're getting back one of our better wide receivers from the springtime in Giovanni Gibson. He had his first set of snaps against Kent State. So the receiving side, I think, will be fine. Plus, we've been a really good pass block team. Like Michigan couldn't even really get home the way they wanted to against Oklahoma. So that's something that's kind of a big deal in my personal opinion, that we're able to protect whoever the quarterback is. The run game's the question. And this is where things get interesting. The plot thickens in this one, mainly because going into this game, Florida was ranked 13th in the SEC in rushing. They were not very good. Everybody they played against, they were struggling all season long. Number 12, Oklahoma. So the big thing that I've seen about Texas is, and I said this, and Texas fans ain't gonna like me hearing this either, is the two things I said I was worried about with Texas was not only the offensive line being young and having new dudes, but y'all brought in 5 transfers on the interior defensive line. If you have to bring in 5 dudes, you have 0 dudes available. You're still trying to figure out who's going to be the one that's going to step up and take over. And so far, nobody has assumed the spot of, yeah, I'm that dude that's going to run this. Even with the 5 stars behind them, it's going to take a little bit more time to me for Texas to really establish it. But that was the one spot that I was in shock of that Texas did not have going on. So if Oklahoma can figure it out with the interior, I think Jake Michaela can do enough to open some holes. They can find holes like Florida did. They'll be up there at the Anthony Hill level very often, and that can make things a little tough for Texas going forward.
What do you make of that, Brad? Because Texas's defensive line has been a strength of the unit of Pete Kwiatkowski's defenses over the years. Maybe not necessarily as good this year. Colin Simmons was one of the preseason All-American selections. What's his performance been like? What's your analysis of this Texas defensive line?
Yeah, it's weird. It feels incomplete, right? Because they looked great against Ohio State. Like the Buckeyes couldn't run the ball against Texas. I know no one's putting a lot of stock into San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. I'm not saying you should. But for the first 4 games that Texas played, the D-line looked like a strength of their team. And it's like, dang, they lose 7 scholarship D linemen from last year, and they're still elite. That's incredible. And then the Florida game happens. And Jaden Ball is a very good runner, but Florida's offensive line, like y'all said, they had done nothing in terms of creating holes or rushing lanes for him to run through. And he had nothing but green grass pretty much every time he touched the football on Saturday. So I don't know. Like, I think they're better than what they were on Saturday in the Swamp, but I guess it's still incomplete because they played 2 Power 4 teams. They looked really good on the D-line in one of those games. They looked really bad on the D-line in another one. So this may be the weekend where it's like, okay, are they actually good or are they actually bad? Saturday maybe when we find out the answer.
I tell you what, that Florida humidity will get to the best of us. Playing in Columbus in August, probably a little bit nicer than playing in Florida in even October. I mean, it's Florida's stupid. Yeah. It just should not exist. Anyway,
you got to deal with Florida man out there too. There's some weirdos in that state. So that's
a little bit crazy.
That's another thing.
Even though we're, into the second Saturday in October, it's going to be hot inside the Cotton Bowl on Saturday because it just always is. We can't get a break and get some fall weather. But Jay, where does Oklahoma's offense win? If they're going to have success against this Texas defense, where do you see it coming?
They have to establish run early. If they can establish the run and force Texas to have to conform defensively, have to actually respect the run game, then Oklahoma should have a good chance of not only controlling the clock, which to me is going to be the most important thing. You need to keep Texas defense on the field as long as possible. You're also going to want to make sure that you can open it up to the pass game. You want the play action to work. You want the short pass. You want the deep pass. You want all of that stuff to be options in this game. And the only way you can do that is you got to have some sort of a run game. So it's either Michael Hawkins on a design run where he quickly gets, he actually does a draw the pass in and then run it instead of grabbing it and immediately rushing like he's a halfback dive, something like that. Or John Mateer decides to play. He's going to make that dive, that QB draw a massive part of his game because he's a dude that likes to run. And he's very athletic. Luckily, knock on wood, it's only his hand. His legs are good, so he's still going to be up there running like crazy. But for Oklahoma, the key thing is going to be you got to establish the run, force Texas to pay attention to both phases, and then I think you'll be good.
And Brad, for Texas's defense to win against Oklahoma's offense, what do they got to do?
Yeah, I mean, do what you did last year. Like, I don't think Michael Hawkins Jr. scares any Texas fan. And I think he's gotten better from last season. But honestly, he didn't really do much against Kent State. That's like, oh, this guy is some sort of world beater now. Like, it's clearly a different offense with John Mateer on the field versus when he's not on the field. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's stopped the run, and it's also contained Michael Hawkins Jr. I think it's as simple as that, right? This is a battle in the trenches. Look, Texas has to get some pressure on Hawkins, right? That's also part of the containing him. Texas had 0 sacks last week. Florida entered the game tied for 100th in the country in sacks per game allowed, and what's supposed to be an elite Texas pass rush got goose-egged. So Texas has to, again, it all goes back to winning in the trenches. They've got to stop the run. They have to get some sort of pressure to take Michael Hawkins Jr. off his spot, make him a little bit uncomfortable. If that's the case, you can make some splash plays, maybe create some turnovers. And guys, the Longhorn offense needs all the help that it can get. And for Texas to win this game, they might need a defensive score. If they can't get that, they might need a couple of short fields created by the defense. So find a way to get an interception, get a fumble or two, and that's Texas's best chance to get this one done.
We'll get into some more keys to the game and predictions for OU Texas coming up here on a Locked On Crossover Edition.
Hey, that's me. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anybody else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all of the details. Mazda brings that same intention with how they craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence throughout almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. It's Mazda. Move and be moved. And we're also brought to you by Quo. One of the tools that help make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about for a long time, just with a new name. And here's why Quo matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so you don't have to worry about carrying 2 or 3 phones anymore. You don't need an old landline anymore. It's so simple to use, and it's like a shared inbox for your team, so everyone knows what's going on and no customer gets left hanging. See why more than 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's QUO.com/lockedoncollege. If you have existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over for no extra charge. It's Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Longhorns, Locked On Sooners, and the Locked On Network your first listen every single day. So shout out to all the everydayers out there. Subscribe to the shows wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Network. Your team every day. Sorry, struggling because I'm just so excited about this game. Jay, we're going to start with you. Give me the biggest key to this game for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Biggest key is still going to be run game. We need a 100-yard rusher. Actually, we just need a 50-yard rusher. We get a 50-yard rusher. I think that will be enough of a challenge for Texas to where they have to respect everything. And that's from a running back, not from the quarterback. The quarterback can get 50 yards as well. Cool. We need a running back that gets us at least 50 yards just to make, like I said, you've got to push Texas defense and make them have to conform. And if you can get a big player here or there, sure, but I think just slow and steady, go in there, win the game, get the heck up out of there healthy is the most important thing possible.
Brad, what about for Texas?
We need Dr. Shin to not be a miracle worker. I think that's the biggest key, right? I mean,
I appreciate so much that you've gotten involved in the Dr. Shin memes as well.
So funny. So
Yeah.
funny. Well done, Oklahoma fan base. You guys have crushed those. Look, Texas is favored right now, according to our friends at FanDuel. Like that changes if John Mateer plays. Like he is a touchdown difference in a game like this. So if Mateer is able to go, I wonder if Oklahoma, this is the biggest game of the year, so you probably don't ever want to punt on this game. But Oklahoma could still lose this game, still make the SEC title, still make the playoffs. So Mateer is obviously the biggest part of your season. Do they err on the side of caution? Who knows? But John Mateer not playing would obviously be big for Texas. But either way, I mean, it's the same thing Jay said. It's the lines of scrimmage. And for Texas, they have to be the exact opposite of what they were this past weekend. I don't know how you could turn things around in a 7-day span, but that's what Texas has to do because the offensive and defensive lines got punked by a Florida team that is not as good as this Oklahoma team that the Longhorns are playing. So I don't know what had to change. I don't know if it's new players. I don't know if it's new scheme. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be a total 180 from what we saw from Texas, because if Texas rolls into the Cotton Bowl with that same line play that we just saw, Oklahoma's going to win, and they're going to win this game going away, regardless of who's playing quarterback for the Sooners.
Yeah, for me, it's containing the quarterbacks if I'm looking at it from either perspective, because both quarterbacks, whether it's Arch Manning or John Mateer or Michael Hawkins Jr., they can beat you with their legs. If you can get pressure, great. But if you can't get home and you let those guys loose, you could be gashed for a big run or even a big pass play down the field in the scramble drill. So I think that's a big key to watching this one, is who does the best job at containing the quarterback and not letting them get free after the pressure gets home. So let's go through this, and you can even give a prediction for if Mateer plays versus if he doesn't, if you like, or if you just want to go with both in your prediction, go for it. But Jay, we'll start with you. What's your prediction for OU Texas?
I predict that Mateer plays, and I think Oklahoma goes out there and really balls out. I'm adjusting my score. I'm gonna say 23-10.
All right, Brad, for Texas, Oklahoma, I'll give you guys some respect.
Thank you.
Hey, whack. No,
I've always said,
well, you are the neutral party.
Our buddy Brad.
You are the neutral party. Yes, you are the one that's controlling this.
I'm trying. I can't help it completely, guys. Like I'm not going to be entirely neutral, but I'll throw a little bone to our Longhorns fans down there. I did grow up in Texas a little bit. I got some friends. Shout out to my boy Josh, who's a Texas fan.
It's not a good thing.
Hey, I've always said that, whoever leads the all-time rivalry gets their name first. So once you guys,
I take it back. Screw it.
Are able to catch
What's
up.
Your prediction for OU Texas? You're
a little behind. If y'all are able to catch up, then maybe we can change the name to that godforsaken pronunciation. That is horrible. It sounds awful. The Mateer thing's interesting. I mean, Jay, you know more about the Sooners than I do. I don't like hearing you say that Mateer is going to play. I hate to give two predictions. I've never done this in my life. If Mateer plays, Oklahoma's going to win, I'll say 24-17. If it's Michael Hawkins who plays, I think Texas wins 20-17. I really think it's that big of a difference. So, I'm irrationally confident with what I've seen from Texas if Michael Hawkins Jr. plays. But if Mateer is out there, then, again, I think he's that big of a difference maker, and the result of who gets the golden hat changes.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tight defensive ball game regardless. I think this has that early 2000s 13-10 feel to it, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be 13-10. I think it's going to be something like Oklahoma 19, Texas 13. I think Tate Sandell, Oklahoma's kicker, is going to be clutch again in this one, and he's going to be one of the keys to the game for the Sooners. They've been more than willing to kick field goals when they get into, fourth and short situations on their, on the Texas or the opponent's side of the 50, because they believe in their kicker's leg to go get them points. They're playing defensive football this year, which is strange. I don't know what to do with that, but it's really enjoyable to watch this team just be willing to take points when those points are available. So that's kind of where I'm at. 19-13. I know it's kind of a weird score, but I could see it being a one-score game either way. I think it's going to be a really fun ball game. Brad, do you have like a bold prediction in this one that you're like, hey, I want to see this player have a breakout or whatever it is?
Yeah, I'm going to eat 5 Fletcher's corny dogs before
there
the
you
game.
go. Oh,
yeah. Bold prediction. Yeah, I will say each team scores a defensive touchdown in this game.
Love it.
So, maybe that's not that bold considering how good these defenses are and how these offenses have been, but I will say we get multiple non-offensive scores Saturday afternoon. What about y'all?
Jay, what about you, man?
I think that we caused 2 more turnovers in this game. Something that we have not been doing much of this season is getting turnovers, and I think we forced some turnovers. Probably a fumble as well as actually, I think a defensive touchdown comes to Oklahoma in this game.
All right, hey, and then your corn dog topping, real quick.
Mustard. Come on.
Yeah, Jay.
Mustard.
Yeah,
I'm not a communist. There's some things we can all agree on, regardless of which side of the rivalry.
And if it's the right corn dog, I don't even need anything on it. Like the right corn dog is perfection just as it is. What's your favorite Texas moment in the OU Texas game, the Red River Showdown?
Thank you for your correction there.
Nice, man.
You know, I was a student at Texas. Yeah, OU fans, save the t-shirt fan jokes. I actually went to Texas. We deserve a lot of those. I don't know. I think 2013 or 2015, the 2 games where I was a student, where OU was a double-digit favorite. Y'all had no business losing to Texas in either of those games. To be there in the student section and watch a couple of upsets was pretty fun. And yeah, I guess Dicker the Kicker's field goal a few years ago was one of the best Texas OU games of all time. So I'll go with those 3 when you asked me for one.
All right, Jay, what about you?
That's good. Moment. It's got to be the my favorite one has got to be the Roy Williams Superman. That is still the most elite moment to dive over, force the arid pass that gets caught by Teddy Lehman for a touchdown. It's still one of the best. I mean, Caleb Williams coming in too was probably just pretty much absurd. That was just so much fun. You're up 28-7 and Texas fans just knew, baby, it's over. And then it was not over. Kennedy Brooks touchdown. I'm going to add a third one too. I'm going to add this one, of course, from 2023. Shout out to our guy, Danny Stutzman.
The t-shirt boys. Yes. Oklahoma fears God, Kansas, and Oklahoma State, but not Texas. Is that what the shirt said?
No. Oklahoma fears God, Texas fears Oklahoma. But yes, that Dylan Gabriel final drive was another great one, as Oklahoma led the entire game until that last moment of the game.
So yeah, I'll go with a little bit of recency bias here. The Marvin Mims game. You brought up Caleb Williams, but to me, it's the Marvin Mims game. He doesn't make those 2 acrobatic catches down the field, and Oklahoma doesn't win that game. Especially that one that's along the sideline for the touchdown. I mean, that's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. It's absolutely incredible. And then one of my favorite images is just Texas running out onto the field in 2023 and Jalil Farouk just standing right there with the Texas players running by him. I don't know. It just really cool. But yeah, so many good ones.
We have different favorite memories from this game. It sounds like.
Also, one of my favorite Oklahoma, Texas kind of GIFs memes is CeeDee Lamb running through the entire Texas defense. That was super fun. So anyway,
so many of those.
But anyway,
so many of them.
It's going to be great. This is going to be a great weekend. It's one of the best weekends in all of sports, in my opinion, not just college football, just sports in general. And it highlights what makes college football so special. The NFL does not have anything like this. NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, maybe New York, Boston in Major League Baseball is about the only thing that comes close to this on North American soil. You know, European soccer can kind of compare a little bit, but nothing else compares to OU Texas weekend. The Red River Showdown, the Red River rivalry, the Red River Shootout, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a great game. Go follow Brad and subscribe to Locked On Longhorns wherever you get your podcasts. You can subscribe to Locked On Sooners wherever you get your podcasts as well. Make sure you make Locked On Longhorns and Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It's going to be a great weekend. Have fun. Drive safe if you're getting to Dallas this weekend. And Boomer Sooner.
Hook 'em.
Horns down, baby.